Hey guys, how's it going? I got a request to do a before and after. When I buy my next game, I'm going to clean it a little bit and kind of show you a few little tips and tricks. This game I just got in the mail today. It's fairly clean, sort of already, but everything goes through a tedious process before it goes into my collection. So I'm going to just show you a few little things that I do every game that I clean. First thing I do is use wet wipes, fragrance free. I already have one pulled out. I wring them out and make sure there's not too much moisture on them. And then I just give the label about one swipe or so, depending on how soiled it is. This one's pretty clean, so we're pretty good there. Flip it over. Go ahead and turn your wet wipe a little bit. Get that back label. This one's pretty clean. Just go over it maybe a couple times on that one. Turn your wet wipe inside out there. Go around the edge of the game. Make sure you get every nook and cranny, the very bottom. Then I already have this set up. Just some lens cleaner. Just make sure it's not too harsh. Nothing with a strong smell or anything. Um, I don't know where I even got this one at. It might have come from an eye doctor or something, but that's the brand I use here. I've already sprayed the Q-tips in my little cup here. Get one side wet. Go ahead and get in here and wipe off your circuit board. And it's kind of hit and miss. Sometimes you get clean games and sometimes you don't. So we'll see what this one looks like. Of course, look at that. Even though it was a good seller, they said they cleaned and tested. This thing's pretty soiled, you know. So I use the dry side after I use the wet side and just go over it again. Get inside the case and get the circuit board. And you'll see it's taken some crud off of it. So, and we all know if you deal with old NES games or old cartridge games that these things don't work if they're dirty. There's no way. So, hopefully I don't have a problem and it just turns on and works. But that'll give you an idea. If somebody says they've tested something and you get it and it has crud on it like that on the circuit board, there's no way in the world. No way. If you could pop something like that in your system and it works, it'd be a miracle. I'd be surprised. Go over it pretty good. Now this takes a minute. This will definitely take a minute because I'll have to go over this a few times. I don't know if you can see that. Already got these wet, so let me get that circuit board there. Get in there real good. And you'll have to go over it a few times, possibly, depending on how soiled your game is. This game's pretty clean. I'm not real sure why it got so dirty on the inside, but it's in pretty good condition. But sometimes it's like this. You have to spend a little time. You don't want to just throw this for your collection because you got to make sure it doesn't have anything on it, um, like mildew or anything gross, because that's a good way to have a problem if you get any kind of mildew or something, fungus, or something that's been wet before and it's been in somebody's wet garage or something. And you can tell right away just by smelling the game. If you smell any kind of mold or mildew, send it back. Just file it as non-working, not as described. Send it back. I don't care what kind of deal you got. It's really almost impossible to get mold and mildew off of any item. I've learned that over the years. It's really impossible. And then you still don't really feel secure about it, letting it touch up against your other stuff. All right, that's pretty good. Um, and we'll get in these nooks and crannies here with our wet side of the Q-tip. Make sure you hit every little spot. I'm trying to hurry for the video, but I'll go back over this game because it's got a little more build up on it than I like. So I'll definitely go back over it. See that? Take the side of it, go over your little spots here. It's taking a lot of crud off this. This thing's a little dirtier than I thought. Go back over it with your dry side just to hit any spots you might have missed. Really get in there. It'll make the cartridge look a heck of a lot better once you do this. It takes a little time, but it's part of the hobby. I got this game for a pretty good deal. I think I've mentioned before in my videos, I don't really go out anymore. I don't search around for stuff. Those days are gone. It's just too much of a hassle nowadays. We like going out, but I don't really like going to places anymore that resell stuff or anything like that. But maybe a time or two a month, I'll get on eBay or Mercari I use and kind of find something. I kind of save search, look for prices, what things are going for. If I need something for the collection, I just wait till there's a good deal and I'll buy it up and just make sure I certify everything, authenticate it, give it a good cleaning before it goes into the collection. Go ahead and flip your game over. Go ahead and get the top part here. But it's still a fun hobby. I like taking these things apart and checking everything out. And my goal is to find the games with the best labels, something that has a magnificent label, because sometimes that really is the challenge. You can find just about any game, but to find it in good condition, that's a different story. That's a different story. So 90% of my collection has been basically me finding the best examples over the 20 years I've been doing this as a hobby. Um, I'm not much of a gamer anymore. I play games occasionally, mostly with maybe my wife. We play online deathmatch with like Call of Duty sometimes, and my kid and me play like the two-player Resident Evil games and stuff like that. Um, but these older games, I'll get a console out every once in a while and hook it up and just have a little fun. It's good memories. I always pick Ninja Gaiden or a Mario game or something like that because that's some of my favorite stuff. This game here, I did a lot of research. It probably took me a few months, maybe 3, 4 months, to find a copy that was a decent price and the condition was right. And I finally got it. I knew what I was getting because it's basically it's labeled as not a very good game. It might even be broken. It wasn't designed well. Maybe it wasn't programmed well, and typically it has a lot of issues. I've seen gameplay of it and everything like that for years. I just now I have all the Contra games. I have all 3 of the Contra games for the NES, and then I've got them for the Super NES. So basically, you have all the Contra cartridge games now. So that's kind of just another step in my collection. I'm going to take a step back for a while and kind of just take it all in before I get anything else. I'm really not in the market for anything right now. I just get in moods every once in a while. But I work hard, I work a good job, and I make plenty of money. And sometimes I feel like just getting this stuff, it makes me feel good. So what the heck? It don't hurt nothing. But it's hard to have a family and spend all the money you do for your home and your cars and all your basics and all that, and then some people it's harder than others, I guess, finding that extra money because this is a expensive hobby nowadays. There's nothing simple about collecting old vintage items that everybody wants, but it's very satisfying when you find a good deal on a game and then you get it and it's clean, you authenticate it, you play it a little bit. Get that detail at the top. Look how dirty that is. I don't know if that picks up on camera. I'll be too close. It's dirty, but this is taking all the crud off of it. But that's the name of the game, guys. You gotta pay attention to the details, really get in there, don't miss any spots. You can clean these up. I've had some really rough looking cartridges that I've restored, and it takes sometimes 30 minutes to an hour for one cartridge. But you might see something online for a good deal because it looks dirty, but you might be able to clean it up. I've had games that clean up real fresh looking and turned out to be really pinnacle parts of my collection. Just because somebody didn't want to wipe them a little bit, I got a better deal. But this is not one of them. This was a really good seller on eBay, and they sent me a card. They put a thank you card. They wrapped this thing in a bow and sent a Nintendo black little case that wasn't in the picture. They sent that as a little extra. They shipped it fast. It was described well with really good pictures, and that's what we're looking for. So, Contra Force for the NES. There you go, guys. I'm pretty happy with this. I might go back over it again. I'll let it sit for a while, but that just shows you right there how dirty some of these are, even if they don't look like it. That gives you an example. Look at that. That's just crud off the circuit board and off the front of the game cartridge. But there it is, guys. That's what everybody was looking for, so there you go. That's the before and after. When I receive a game, that's exactly the steps I go through. And now, after it sits and dries for a while, it can go to my collection. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll keep making these videos. I have a lot of items to show off. I've got thousands of video games, probably close to 3,000. I've got thousands of comic books, sports cards, DVD, VHS. I collect 80s toys. I've got it all. I've done it for years, and I do have a big collection that most people have never seen. So me and my kids like making these videos. I'm having a fun time, and I'll keep them coming. But you guys have a good day, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.